also said, I forgot to say, how about the Amor line break? I don't think he expected to get through so easily. He was looking around for someone to pass to. Good backing up by Paolo. Hopefully didn't hurt himself too bad from scoring. Not good signs him going off straight after.
Yeah, and St David said, with plenty missing on both sides, I feared this might be a nothing game, but it was much better than that. Saints pulled away in the second half as Wire ran out of subs. Lomax knitted it together, but Wellesby was man of the match and looks better every game he plays. I'd settle for the same score in 2 weeks. Come on, you Saints, onwards.
I'm sure he would, yeah. I mean, it started quite well for Warrington. Not many teams score against Saints. They scored in the first 3 minutes against Saints, so it did start quite well, but then it kind of started to go downhill with these injuries. I mean, Ben Curry and Danny Walker midway through the first half, Louis Johnson and someone else went off in the second half as well, didn't they? But I can't remember who. I can't remember who, but they certainly ended the game without anyone to bring on subs at the end of the game. So I didn't watch this one live. I watched it a little bit later on Thursday because I had someone round for tea. So when I turned the TV on, it was actually after the game, and the Sky commentators were talking about how good Warrington had played. So I thought, I'm going to watch a game here where Warrington have won against Saints. I'm not sure I expected that to happen. And then when I watched the game, I was like, why are they giving so much praise to Warrington? They were okay in patches, but they were definitely the second best team. And it wasn't like they were the only team that had injuries in the game. And it wasn't like they were the only team that were playing young players. I know 2 17-year-olds, that's very much young players, but I didn't get it. I didn't get why Warrington were getting so much praise. I don't know if you got it.
No, I mean, yeah, I watched it, but not avidly because it was a bit boring, I thought.
It didn't feel intense, did it?
No. Yeah, it wasn't a gripping match, I didn't feel.
In terms of who played well, it's all about putting the hand up for places in the game at Wembley, I think, really, this one. And I think Kyle Amor is a player who's really starting to do that for St Helens. The last few weeks I've been really impressed by him, and this week I think he was definitely one of the best players on display. I think young Jack Wellesby came out with a lot of praise as well, and he had some nice touches. He had 2 try assists. He seemed to be getting in. Certainly, the game they played in at standoff against Catalans, he didn't look like that was his position at this level. But they've done the right thing and kept Lomax in the halves and put Wellesby at fullback. And it certainly seems like it is his position at Super League level. So he looks class, doesn't he? I think for the Wolves, Ratchford had 2 beautiful passes for his 2 try assists in the first half. I mean, that young Josh Thulis on the wing, he couldn't have wished for a better opportunity, I suppose, to get his first try, because he had so much space and time because of how great the play was before it. So you got to say Ratchford was looking like the class act in that first half, amongst, like you say, a game that was lacking in certain levels of intensity and excitement at times. But I think in the end, Saints were definitely deserved winners, and I like I say, I don't really get I get the encouragement that Warrington might get from the character that the young players showed and that sort of thing, but I don't get the praise for the performance, because I didn't think they played particularly well at all, other than those couple of moments from Stephen Ratchford. I think Riley Dean, the young half, he made a few mistakes, but he didn't look discouraged by that. That's another positive for them. The highlight moment for me, I could say the Amor break, but let's be honest, that was so preventable by anything like competent defending.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Makinson try, because when I watched that try back, I thought Warrington did everything a team should do to be able to stop that try, and yet the speed of the pass, the timing of the pass, the timing of the jump, the reach out from Makinson, the fingertip grounding. I just think when you have to go to that level to score, because the defence has managed the play really well, but you can't stop it. I just think that has to be called out as a highlight moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, although on the losing side, I thought Ratchford, I just think he's a really good player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's special. I certainly think he deserved calling out, didn't he, Ratchford, like you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I like him. I think he's a good player.
Let's move on to Friday night then.
Yeah, so Friday night over at the Emerald, Headingley, what's it called now? At half-time, Leeds led Catalan 16-8 and at full-time finished 48-8 in front of 11,336 people and refereed by Robert Hicks. In terms of stats, over 400 more metres and 6 more breaks were key to a Leeds win that also saw them make fewer errors and concede fewer penalties than their opponents, despite the Dragons enjoying an extra player for almost half the game. Individually, for Leeds, Adam Cuthbertson made 120 metres and 3 offloads, Luke Briscoe with 1 try and 120 metres, Harry Newman with 7 tackle busts and 145 metres and 2 clean breaks, Reece Martin with 1 try, 5 tackle busts and 140 metres. And for Catalans, Sam Cassiano with 122 metres and Remy Caskey with 40 tackles, of which 12 were mark tackles.
Malcolm Carmatios got in touch first of all. He said, "Save the Super League, Karma Stupa Coach Steve saved the Stupa League by keeping the winos up. That's a full house after saving the RFL by not going back to Wembley. If Toronto don't go up, we'll join the America League."
And Mark Butler said, the question, would you rather be 8 points up and at home or have a man advantage for half an hour? Seems like a 50-50 question on the face of it, but you may as well forget it if the away team is Catalan. How they threw it in the bin from here is almost forgivable. Whoever can turn that shower of bastards into the sum of their parts deserves to be a very rich man. Panic over for Leeds, surely.
Tom Andrews said, "So did Catalan not get the hashtag send Leeds down memo or what? Embarrassing performance by them. Feel their position in the league is purely based on how much money they have spent rather than being a good team or having a good coach. Singleton deserved his red. When you crack a 6'5" prop around the chops, you leave the ref very little choice. Hope Ledrax aren't this shit later in the month too." Oh, are this shit later in the month too?
Surely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. John Hamilton said, 3 wins off 5th place. Can you remind me how the playoffs work this year, please?
They work without Leeds, innit, mate? Josh says, "I genuinely was a bit emotional about this game on the Hooter. I have witnessed grand finals, treble winning teams, but to see 12 men triumph was spectacular. Don't care about other outside issues that affected the game. As a Leeds fan, it was enjoyable. Headingley hasn't had much joy. This game we did. P.S. Get a different chant for Reece." That'd be Reece Martin.
He was pretty impressive for them this match, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he scored a fairly special
10
try.
goals he kicked and a great try he scored as well.
I didn't know he had that sort of pace, or was it Catalan's attitude? But he ran
you've
60
still got
metres.
to score it, haven't
Yeah.
you? But I must admit, when you're at 8 points up and have a player sent off, you do worry a little bit, don't you? And think, this is where Catalans are going to come back and win it.
I mean, you would have expected so, wouldn't you? That's certainly. They'd already got through a 10-minute sin-bin period as well, hadn't they? And Conrad Hurrell was barely back on the pitch before Brad Singleton got sent off for a high
it really
tackle.
was a close thing, wasn't it?
He's got.
He was sin-binned in the 39th minute, and then the sending off was in the 51st minute. So that's only 2 minutes that they've had with the full 13 back on the pitch. Yeah,
exactly. The high tackle is resulted in a 2-match ban for Brad Singleton.
Okay.
What did you make of it? Did you agree with what the guys have said there?
Yeah, I mean it was a high tackle, wasn't it?
It was certainly direct to the head, and you have to go some to get direct to the head on someone that big.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Do you think the size of Sam Cassiano has played a part in that? I mean, oftentimes...
if he was a smaller person and he got clouted to the head, it'd have been more, well, he's a small person and 15-year arm, not so much.
You'd have sensed some mitigation there in some way, shape or form, wouldn't you? And we see so many tackles that come off the shoulder or off the ball or that sort of stuff, and that's why we don't see as many red cards for those sorts of challenges. This is going some. To get that guy in the head without coming off the chest or the shoulder or the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair call then. What about the rest of the action? Who else impressed you for?
I was impressed with Harry Newman, and I thought Robert Louis again was pulling the strings for Leeds.
Yeah, he scored a try as well. One of those tries that felt like should have been preventable from a Catalan's point of view. They just fell apart, didn't they, in that second half?
Yeah.
Was there anything you could see that explained why they fell apart so much? Do you what is going on? Where's their heads at?
I really don't know. I just feel like, yeah, there should be some reason for it, but you can't see why. Like, what's happened?
Like, you look down the team sheet and you think, well, is it that there's a lack of experienced leadership out there? Well, they've got Tony Gigo, they've got Greg Bird, they've got Remy Casti. They're all very experienced players.
Kenny Edwards.
Sam Cassiano, Julian Busquet, Mikel Simon. There's a lot of experience in that side. Maybe are we saying some of those players aren't necessarily the leaders you would want in a crisis situation, in a heads down situation?
Or is it too many chiefs all trying to pull in their own direction?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seemed like they were arguing on the pitch at times, the Catalan side, rather than trying to fix things up. They were more keen on blaming people, and I think Tony Gigo is a player that I've seen do that sort of stuff before as well. So I don't know, maybe they were missing Tompkins, who seems to be a bit of a organiser for them and a calmer downer, but he didn't really calm anything down the week before, so you can't really say that too much.
No, as you say, looking at the team, you can't really explain why the issues were there, especially when they were a player up.
Did Leeds look like a team that are safe now to you, the way they played out this game?
Possibly, yeah. I think that win probably does put them safe now. It's
a hard one to say, innit? We don't want to quite admit it.
I know.
We like watching them nearly go down every year.
It's disappointing to see them maybe moving a bit clear now.
What did you make of any highlight reel moments this game? What was the best play, do you think, of this game?
Possibly the Reece Martin try. It's the one that I've sort of remembered.
Yeah, you sort of would have expected the defenders to have a better shot in, but the Sky did quite a good analysis of it, didn't they, after the game, where...
I don't know, I switched off because we had to be up early the next morning, so I saw the match and then switched off afterwards.
Fair shout. They pulled out how they were attacking behind the ruck, and it came from that. Obviously, Catalan defenders maybe taking a play off behind the ruck and not making the tackles that they should have been making. But like we said at the top, you wouldn't expect Reece Martin to do that run.
No.
Definitely a contender for try of the week, that one, for sure. I agree. Okay, is there anything else on that one?
I don't think so.
Fair enough. Let's move on to Wigan versus Hull Kingston Rovers then. It was 12-all at half-time in this game in front of 10,702. Chris Kendall was the referee. It ended up being a 36 points to 18 win for Wigan, with the Warriors kind of pulling away in the last 20 minutes or so of the game. In terms of the stats, with 399 more metres and a 3.8% better team tackle success rate, stats say Wigan earned this win. More breaks, more busts, more offloads helped to overcome an extra error made and an extra penalty conceded. Individually, George Williams, 1 try, 1 try assist, 6 tackle busts, 107 metres, 2 clean breaks, 3 successful offloads. Zach Hardacre, 7 tackle busts, 163 metres. Liam Farrell, I ever mentioned that I love Liam Farrell. He got 2 tries.
I'm not sure whether you've mentioned it or not.
2 tries, 6 tackle busts and 136 metres for the Ginger Pearl. And Sam Powell, 2 tries